The Wright brothers had a dream to soar through the skies with an invention that would let the primitive human see the world. They persevered through many hardships and challenges that blocked their dreams in order to make them a reality. Their unwavering determination and innovative spirit challenged the conventional beliefs of their time and proved the sky was indeed the limit. Through a series of failures that brought them to their victory, they accomplished the most impossible achievement the world had ever seen: the first powered, sustained, and controlled flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina in 1903.
The journey of the Wright brothers began long before their historic flight at Kitty Hawk. Growing up in Dayton, Ohio, Wilbur and Orville were presented to the world of flight at an early age. During their childhood, their father brought home a toy helicopter built by Alphonse Pinot. Powered by a twisted rubber band, the toy took flight off the ground. This flight sparked the love of engineering and curiosity in the brothers, enticing them to play for hours at a time with the toy, often ending with the toy broken. The broken toy gave them much joy fixing it and doing it all over again. From this simple toy, the seed of a lifelong passion for flight was planted in the Wright brothers, setting them on a path to make history.
After high school, the Wright brothers' passion for flight grew exponentially. In order for Wilbur and Orville to raise the necessary funds for their experiments, they turned to the growing industry of bicycles, which was rapidly gaining popularity in the United States. And so they founded the Wright Cycle Company in their hometown of Dayton, Ohio. The shop proved to be highly successful, allowing the Wright brothers to invest in their dreams of flight. With their curious and technical minds, Wilbur and Orville were motivated young men who leveraged their business savvy to turn their passion into a reality.
With the Wright brothers' claim to the title of pioneers of flight, questions were raised about their authenticity. Gustav Whitehead claimed to have made sustained powered flight 2 years prior to the Wright brothers on August 14, 1901. Whitehead's aircraft design was similar to that of a Chicago engineer and his assistant, leading some to believe that he was using the most advanced aircraft structure of his era, the Chinook herring. However, Whitehead also showed a reporter a more fragile design, claiming to have flown it half a mile, and later claiming to have flown a similar metal design, number 22, for 7 miles over Long Island Sound. Despite these claims, a reporter visiting Whitehead 20 months later found that he was still in the experimental stage.
The concept of flight in aerospace was familiar to some, but not everyone was convinced. Skeptics in France expressed doubt, saying, "The Wrights have flown or they have not flown. They possess a machine or they do not possess one. They are in fact either flyers or liars. It is difficult to fly, it is easy to say, we have flown." The world doubted the Wrights.
When trying to figure out how to power their flying machine, Wilbur and Orville ran into a major roadblock. The engines of their time could give off the right amount of power for a car, but sadly, none of these engines they found seemed to be suitable for flight. These engines were either too heavy or too weak. They all failed at what the Wright brothers needed them to do, so they decided to build their own, resulting in a 4-cylinder engine that weighed approximately 170 pounds, which could deliver 12 horsepower and was capable of heavier than air flight. The Wright brothers' initial attempt at flight was a kite. However, it failed to generate enough lift and thus couldn't make it off the ground. Despite this setback, the brothers took the lessons they learned from their failure and applied them in their pursuits of building a successful aircraft. Undeterred, they continued working on their first plane. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers were ready to make history, and after a suspenseful startup, the Wright brothers had done it. They captured the skies by successfully conducting the first ever manned flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The initial flight only lasted for 12 seconds and covered a distance of 120 feet, but on the same day, with Wilbur at the controls, the plane traveled 852 feet and remained airborne for 59 seconds.
After the Wright brothers succeeded in creating a functional plane, they sought recognition and support from the government for their groundbreaking work in aviation. The United States government, intrigued by their invention, issued proposals for an aircraft that met certain requirements. Out of 22 bids received, only 3 were accepted, and the Wright brothers were the only ones to successfully fill the contracts and make the planes themselves. Orville made the proposed planes in the United States, while Wilbur was overseas securing funding from foreign investors that admired the Wrights' new invention. Orville demonstrated the proposed plane that the U.S. contracted in September 1908 to great success. Orville and Wilbur's efforts paid off in 1909, with great successes in the States and overseas. The brothers founded the American Wright Company, with Wilbur as the president of the company and managing its day-to-day operations, and Orville as the vice president, watching and helping with production duties.
The flight generated a massive buzz, igniting public interest in flying and leading to increased funding and support for aviation research and development. The achievement left a lasting impact on society, shaping cultural perspectives, revolutionizing communication and trade from nations around the globe, and traveling to places that typically take months. The aviation industry significantly contributed to economic growth and technological progress, impacting the global economy. To this day, the Wright brothers' first flight remains a fantastic achievement in aviation and contributes to shape the industry today.
The aftermath. The Wrights had made it to everything they had ever dreamed of, their life in the skies. This happiness, however, was short-lived when Wilbur died of typhoid fever in 1912 at age 45, and the company was given to Orville to lead. After 3 years with the company, Orville decided to give up his share of the company and retire. He retired in his hometown of Dayton and lived out his years with friends, serving on aviation boards like the National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics, later known as the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA for short. This happiness was also short-lived. Orville died of a heart attack on January 30th, 1948, at age 76.
The Wright brothers' first successful flight was a defining moment in aviation history, signaling the start of the powered flight era. The Wright brothers' plane began the vast advancements in aviation capabilities and everyday uses, from the transportation of goods and people to military operations conducted around the globe.
The Wright brothers pushed a frontier in history and pioneered flight,